Hey, greetings to everybody. I'm on a Zoom call today with Gerhard. Gerhard's in Cape Town, in South Africa, and we were in a conversation last week, and Jit made a comment that kind of stuck out to me. Jit said, "Hey, this is a great time to talk about Quadrant II Living." If you don't know, Quadrant II Living comes out of the book Seven Habits of Highly Effective People by Covey. It's a great book, one of my favorites, just a classic leadership book. But Jed, I'd love you just to take a minute and just explain what do you mean this is a great time to focus on Quadrant II Living? What does that mean to you?
Yeah. So in South Africa, we almost through our third week of lockdown. And just before lockdown, as a team, we got together and said, listen, we are going to have time now. We can't connect with the people, the leaders we're working with. So how can we best make use of this time? We got a whiteboard out, wrote out our mission statement, and said, how can we achieve this while being on lockdown? And so the temptation was to have a lot of webinars and meetings, and not that those aren't important, but we said, let's get to those things that we know are so important, but we always just put it on the back burner. Yeah, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. So we made a list of all of those things that we've been wanting to get to, we know is so important to continue building this mission, keeping us going. And so, yeah, we made a list and just said, let's put this on the calendar. You know, things like preparing sessions, content development. Our website hasn't been updated for a long time. Relationships, developing ourselves as leaders. So just things that it just always goes out of the window because we're so busy with all of the urgent things that we always just, leave those. So made a list and put it on our weekly calendar, and yeah, it's going well. I must say there's a temptation to get busy again, a lot of urgent things that one can do. So it's important to discipline yourself to stick to those things in that quadrant 2 block.
So you're talking about things that are not urgent, but they're really important. And you're talking about for your organization. You did that with your team. Let me ask you this question personally. How do you live Quadrant 2 personally? How do you apply that principle personally?
So a big part is relationships, and it sounds weird because you can't be face to face with people, but we've realized, we've discovered Zoom and other cool tools that we could actually spend time with people, catching up with friends. Another thing is just having time to evaluate just ourselves, our marriage, our family, looking at how are we getting into God's word, spending solo time, making sure we do well with just taking our days off. Sounds weird to have a day off in lockdown, but with 2 little kids running around and projects around the house, you can get busy. And so just trying to get to a healthy place ourselves. So
that's great. Thanks, Jet. I was looking at this book today after this conversation, and Covey makes a statement. He said, when you focus on Quadrant II Living, it would make a tremendous positive difference in your life. And exactly what Jit just said, both for his organization and personally, allowing yourself to focus on things that are not just urgent, but things that are not urgent, but are really, really important. Jit, thanks for the reminder for what Quadrant II Living is all about. And I hope that you are successful during this time of lockdown, both with your team, with your organization, and personally in your life with these relationships. But thanks for joining us today, and thanks for connecting.
Thanks, Russ. Cheers.